So greetings to all who come and check out the sun is at through the gates of the month. This is Plutonic Plains and Meten, and I'm doing gate 20, and this is for May 21st to May 26th. So that's Wednesday, the 21st to Monday, the 26th. And here we are entering into Gemini, into the early degrees of Gemini. And this first gate of Gemini exemplifies and models and archetypes the type of energy that Gemini is symbolic and represents. Now, in general, in the day-to-day, those who have this particular gate, usually owned by pure manifesting generators, as this is a manifesting generator channel, this is all about its programming partner being the 34 power or force in the now. And so this is making thoughts, deeds. And so usually this comes from a power place of the manifesting generator into the moment, expressed into the moment. And it's about the energy just coming forth to manifest in response. Now, this particular gate 20 is about expressing truth in the moment, no matter what it is. You call it out. Something's fucked up. You call it out. You call it the truth. That is the expression of this particular gate 20 in its highest frequency. And in another expression of its frequency, it's about making choices, doing things, expressing, going right into action, and in such a way that decisions are not being made from the mind, they're being made directly from the inner wisdom of the body. And so this comes from an ability to stay fully present in the moment. It's like that moment you find in meditation, whereas you start to meditate, it seems really boring. And then not too long after, depending on who you are and your practice, all of a sudden something turns on. And then there's this awareness. And you're sitting in this awareness. And you're seeing, but you can't describe in what way you're seeing. If you choose to, you can go to the third eye and see what you're seeing. But you're also feeling. And there's also the periphery, and then there's also visuals that come in or not, or just certain spirals of awareness. This particular gate negates space and time because you need space and time to think. And thinking is a requirement of the mind. The mind can only think in space and time. And so, in its lowest frequency, its expression is usually that of a sense of immediacy of the moment, but it's almost like a superficiality actually in the moment. It's not a true presence. It's just kind of a light awareness that's always there. And so you'll notice with people who utilize this energy with a lower sense of awareness that they'll be on and off. They'll sometimes give the impression that they're not fully present. And it's a kind of numbingness from fear of action, fear of living in the moment. And so it could be related to the whole idea of how we observe life or we absorb it. And so one with this particular gate wants to be aware to observe it and not absorb. And thus not getting caught up in the typical expression of the 2034 being a channel of busyness. We're busy about not necessarily anything in particular. Like you don't know what you're being busy about. You're just in a busy space. And so in its higher frequencies, this is a very interesting awareness because it is the central gravity for the awareness that's moving into the body at this time, where we're moving away from the heaviness of the mind and we're moving to the greater power of the solar plexus center, its mutation in 2027, in the sense that the mind no longer has any role except to verbalize and communicate things through the voice, or or key expressions through the voice that come in through the 2343 perhaps, or any of the other two channels that go from the throat to the mind, or the channels below. And so then the mind becomes more of an expression of a voice box, because this center, this particular gate, for example, amongst several others, is about watching and about being in the now and observing life in a dispassionate manner. A capital B form of balance, where you're sitting in a sense of just seeing what is. And so I haven't even shared where this gate is, so let me do that. I've just been kind of talking, but now I will share it so you guys can all see what I'm talking about. And here it is. I thought it was apropos to have blackness for this particular gate, because it represents this gate 20. You could see it right here off the throat center on the side. And it will be connected to the 34 during this time. So SMGs will feel the energy light up. And usually the truth of its expression is to just whatever you're doing in the moment, just whatever the body does. It's coming straight from the sacral. So the energy is action oriented. And the incarnation cross, what do you know, is the sleeping phoenix. And the 2034 is a part of the sleeping phoenix, which is what we're moving into, what the new 400 odd year cycle of humanity is. We're moving away from the cross of planning to the cycle of the sleeping phoenix. And on this particular day, on May 21st, the Wednesday, it'll be connected to the 34. So this will be a very action-oriented week. I'm doing these ahead of time because I'm going to be traveling. But this will be coming off of the prior gate, which was, I'm already forgetting, gate 8. And so this this particular channel really does portend a future where the essence of being can truly express itself and express in itself that center of beingness in which there is nothing, in which there is no ego or self, but the toroidal field, like the source of it, the central gravity of it, where the energy moves to the center of us and then back out and then back in again, connecting with all creation, connecting with everything all the time, whether it's running the mouth or running its thoughts or not. Because we're not a cycle, we're not a bicycle of thoughts, nor can the mind and its actions contain the day. I like the example in Toltec shamanism where they talk about the flyers. And this is in some of the later Carlos Castaneda books, where Carlos talks about how the flyers gave us their minds. And so we have the mind of the monster, of the parasite. We have its mind. And we know how our mind is. It's grasping, it's obsessive, it doesn't let go. And the easiest way to combat the control or the attempt coot of the mind is to breathe and feel your breathing, or even feel into whatever one is doing and feeling the body as it experiences that. Like if you're going for a walk, you're drinking in the colors with your senses. The colors of the day, the flowers, the sky, the mountains, the green. When you're in meditation and a breathing exercise, you start by paying attention to your breathing. The best practice of which I've liked to utilize is to just observe the breath and only breathe when you need to. And thus falling into a type of calm, a calm you only know right prior to sleep. And that to me is the best form of breath work. And that's not deep breathing at all. We hear this in society so much. Oh, take deep breaths. Oh, you're anxious. Oh, take deep breaths. That actually causes more anxiety. What you want is a fading breath because we're not even breath. We're the space between the breaths, just like we're the space between the notes, we're the intervals, we're that core of beingness, which is nothing, which is blank, which is spaceless, which is a center. And this particular gate helps us express that because it is true beingness. And it's a beingness that's aware, but it is counter to another type beings. And so some weird thing going on with my sound and giving me messages. I don't know why. So that's what it is. So observe for this week, gate 20 in action. There'll be a lot of action, a lot of exercise and utilizing of the body to do this or to do that. We'll be moving more into the heart of summer, so swimming and enjoying the ocean or the lakes or the rivers is a great time to express this particular gate frequency. There's a silent ease about this gate when one is sitting in its essence and expressing it. It's like finding that open center where life can kind of move in and out. There's a painting that was at a friend of mine where she worked, or her office. She was a reflexologist. And there was this painting down the hall, and it was like a Taoist painting, someone in meditation, and it was like a pencil drawing. And right where the head was drawn was like this disappearing, dissolving image of the head. And it was like dissolving into the background. Very different than a Francis Bacon painting, although a similar idea. My favorite Francis Bacon painting being the one where the man's head dissolves into the background window and the outline dissolves and it becomes like amorphous. And it's like the mind escaping from its trap, from its prison, from its cage, and connecting with everything because it is connected to everything. There is never any boundaries in the mind. People can always sense your thoughts and you theirs because thoughts are not trapped in the mind. Thoughts are electric and and our minds are receivers and they're always receiving and emitting. And so I'll leave it at that. This was Sun and Gate 20, the first Gemini gate for May 21st to May 26th. I didn't go over any other conjunctions. There are none that I know of. Nope, there's none. And its programming partners, the 34, which will be active. I didn't mention where. And it will be mentioned, yeah, and its programming partner, and the opposite in the Earth. So whatever sign, whatever gate the Earth is in, is how you ground the reality. So grounding during this period will be especially important because there's going to be a lot of action. Everyone's going to get to play with the sacral and be a manifesting generator for a week, or to utilize that energy for a week. So grounding through the 34, your sense of personal power without forcing it on anyone. This will be the key for that week. Thanks so much for listening. This is Meten on Plutonic Planes. Feel free to like or subscribe, and best to you all.